On the merry-go-round. You can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Ooh, mountain. We gon' walk it out and mountain. And I'll rise like the day. I rise up, I rise unafraid. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I rise up, I like the waves. I rise up, in spite of the ache. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I just realized we didn't have a timer on, Tammy. I was going to message you too. So, hey, everybody, welcome back. We are so grateful again. We want to say this again that you are taking your valuable time to spend the next 60 minutes with us. We'll be here a little bit less time today than we were yesterday. And like always, we just want to take a moment to anchor ourselves. So let's arrive here together, feet on the floor. Bare feet so I can feel my carpet. Toes are a little bit cold. Let's take one slow breath in. Allow your shoulders to kind of relax a little bit. Let it out. Let's take another one in, and I'm going to count for 8. See if you can bring it in for 8 and hold it and bring it all the way down to your belly. Most of us shallow breathe all day. So let's bring it in for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, and then release. All right, one more time, guys. I know the view, depending on the view of your screen right now, I don't know if you can see Tammy. I don't know if you can see Diane. I don't know if you can see Belinda. I don't know if you can see Dee Dee. I don't know if you can see Jody or Kirsten or Lee or Stacy or Teresa or Trish or anyone that I missed. I saw Christy Horton there. That's probably someone else. If you can't see all those people, I want you to feel their energy, feel their openness, their heart to want to release what's not serving them anymore and create with purpose. I want you to feel that, sense it. We're going to do one more breath in, and I want you to bring all of that into you. All right, so we're going to breathe in for 8. Ready? 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold it. Hold on to all that love and goodness, being and creativity, curiosity and connection. And then I want you to release all the fear and negativity and judgments and unuseful thoughts, comparison, guilt, envy. Let it all go. Let it return to the earth, mixing with all the beauty of the natural world that our Father created so that it can be recycled. All right, my friends. Let's get started, shall we? All right. So yesterday, Tammy and I introduced you to something, and we hope that it opened something for you that was real. Today is not about adding more content. Like, we're not going to learn anything necessarily new today. It's just about stabilizing and maybe going a little bit deeper into what we talked about yesterday. This work is literally on the level of identity. And so as we said yesterday, these are the two things I think if you are here with us today, I want you to take in as you leave us if we never work together again, and or if we do. First, you see on your screen that there is this scripture that the work Tammy and I are doing is rooted in. 2 Timothy 1:7, and that is for we have been given a spirit not of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And we mentioned yesterday our goal is to impact 1,000 women over the next year to step into that with the knowledge that it is who you are being always, right? That is either helping you consciously create or create, right? And that your creativity and what you're creating consciously and on purpose comes from that. So, in a nutshell, being, right, and creating on purpose, who we are being and what we are creating on purpose. Those two things. All right. So, I'm going to shift it over to my friend and colleague and fellow amazingly powerful, loving being who is in me in the journey of developing a sound mind, Tammy.
Thank you. So first of all, thank you so much for being here today and entering this space again with us. I'm really, really blessed with the work that we're going to do together today and invite you um, just to pause. And if you can, Christy said, um, depending on your screen and what your view is, I would take a moment and just look around the room and look at all the beautiful women, the souls that are here that are in this work with you. And that's a part of our heart, and we'll talk more about that later. But yesterday we practiced release, which is not erasing the past. But the goal and what we're working towards is loosening those reins that drain us from energy and our life force. And for me, that releasing an identity that I carried for a long time. And for a long time, it was very unconscious. And then choosing one that could hold grief and purpose together. So, what we walked through yesterday in the experience was that release and re-anchoring, letting go of those non-useful thoughts. We mentioned the terminology, and you're going to hear a deeper dive into this today of low quality, non-useful thoughts and low quality problems. Anchored in yesterday was sharing my story. But what I invite you to do today, very intentionally, is to anchor in your story. This can be very emotional, but it's incredible when you can start stepping into the gift of what this can do for you and for the people in your life. And so it's working towards identity shifting from that self-blame. I tortured myself on a daily basis of the what ifs or why didn't I? And transforming that into the most purposeful work that I feel that I've ever been called to do in my life. And now being able to model that being change without bypassing the grief. It's interesting in losing a child, and this is no disrespect. And I had many people that loved me that gave me advice or sent books or all the things, because honestly, a lot of people, if you've not experienced that, you don't know what to say. I experienced that early before I lost my son. But they coexist, and there's a beauty in that I'm not even sure I have the right words for yet, but that's part of just so thankful that we're able to share this with you. Yesterday, we walked through those 5 keys of creation, and just, giving you clarity, the memorable framework that moves from agency to love to language and discernment, and then this, the environment that you're surrounding yourself in. And more importantly, none of the keys are about doing more. Anybody here relate with the doing more model? If I just do more, 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 they are all about who you are being when you are doing. So, lastly, we just talked about that embodiment and that declaration of your future self. We gave a little assignment at the end. Hopefully, you had a moment to do that, which was the question of in 2026, I choose to be the woman who.
And hold that thought. Hold that thought. Okay. We're going to go a little bit deeper before we really flesh that out. We do want to hear it if you were able to work on that. But before we do that, I just want to honor what Tammy modeled yesterday for everybody. Again, I want to say this very specifically. Nothing was bypassed, right? Nothing was bypassed. Nothing was rushed. Truth was allowed. The real truth, right? Not this untruth, if you remember. Truth was allowed and identity shifted. And so I want to go a little bit deeper today. As we begin, though, I'm going to bring back up to the slide. And I want to say I'm so grateful for you guys to bear with Tammy and me through our techie stuff. As we were exiting yesterday, there was some of you stayed on with us, and we said, this is something, one of the keys is do only what you love. This is something we are right now interviewing a few people that are going to help us with that part of it because we really want to stay in what we love, which is this work, right? The tech part of it is not what I love, but I'm bringing my being to doing it right now with you guys and loving every minute of the growth that is instituted for me. So you saw this yesterday, this idea of third level listening, right? So as we're beginning again, I'm going to ask you to drop a 3 in the comments now if you are still um, reminding yourself that you have the power here. Tammy and I don't have the power, you have the power, right? That is what third level listening is all about, creative listening. And you can see, I went a little bit deeper to show you how you're like that. You like the little image I have, guys, with the ear, with the heart, right? So everything that we're doing is obviously through love. And I want to make one quick little distinction that I didn't go into yesterday for you VIP people, and it's the doctor distinction. So, quick little story. There was the best surgeon in the land, right? That employed the second best surgeon in the land in their specific area of expertise. So, like the number one surgeon in the world employed the second surgeon in the world in terms of their abilities and all that to come and watch him perform his surgery, to see how he interacted with his team, to listen to the way he spoke, to watch what he did. And so the second doctor watched, and afterwards they debriefed one another. And here's the distinction, right? It obviously made the second most powerful doctor even more powerful, right? The best one, even more powerful. But having that second best, whatever type of hierarchy we're using there, to observe the first also made the first even better, right? So I want you to, this is about win-win, right? This is about when you're listening, it's about how can that person win and I win too. And believe it or not, this whole idea of power is not like Tammy and I have the power and we're giving it to you, right? We want to help empower you. And believe it or not, being with you guys empowers us even more. We're learning from being here with you too, right? So I hope that that even maybe a little bit more with this power of, you know, that story. And I just realized that I did it all in my own words. And so I hope it was helpful. Was that helpful? Win-win? Maybe drop that in the comments. We're always listening when we get rid of our non-useful thoughts and we're listening for win-win. How can the person I'm talking to win and I win too, instead of I'm trying to be right, right? Or I'm trying to win and the other person's trying to lose. All right, guys. I can't see comments, so I'm assuming that there's lots of threes in the comments and that that was helpful for you guys. All right. Before we get into a little bit more today, we're going to talk about non-useful thoughts one more time. We talked about non-useful thoughts yesterday. Today, I want to add just one more small distinction again, and that is on your screen. Can you see at the top I've added, we talked about what they are. They disturb your peace. They pull you into reactive patterns. They reduce your agency. They shrink your identity. I added at the top here, here's the big kicker. They trigger something in us, right? Do you see that at the top? They trigger what? What do they trigger? Judgment. Yeah, you feel free to talk back to me or put it in the comments. They trigger judgment of ourselves and typically sometimes of others, but most often we want to work on our stuff, right? So they trigger. Now I want to tell you this little bit of a story about trigger. All right. I learned this from Gabor Mate, um, a doctor in the psychology, and he talks about all of you've heard the term trigger, right? Like show of hands. Everybody heard the term trigger before? Yeah. Oh, this is triggering me, right? All right. I want you to visualize a gun for a minute because that's what a trigger is on, right? A trigger's on a gun. And so the trigger is the smallest part of a gun as well, right? It's the smallest part of it. And so if we think, oh, I've been triggered, then I'm visualizing myself as like the gun is me and something outside myself has triggered. It's a very small part. Here's the thing about a trigger on a gun. I can click that trigger all day long, but if there is no ammunition in the gun, is it going to fire? No, right? So this is all that unuseful judgment experiences, all the biases that we have, all the things that don't serve us, all that that's floating around. If we don't have that, right, we clear it out, clear it out, clear it out with our self-forgiveness process, then someone can push that trigger all day long, right? And I don't erupt on them, react on them. And all that a gun does, you guys, is destroy. That's what it does, right? There may be some useful things for it if you're talking about hunting to feed ourselves, but it still, it kills something else. So in this particular analogy, I'm not going to destroy someone else, if I can work on my stuff. And so, and then also work on the judgments too that it triggers. All right. Was that helpful to think that way as well for anyone? Because I can't see comments, maybe shaking heads would be. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Then we stepped into knowing that those non-useful thoughts, right, are what trigger. Um, we talked about what they are specifically and how they trigger judgments. All right. And we used Tammy's statement yesterday. Now, but I want to back up, guys, and talk to you about can be with anything. It doesn't have to be with grief. It could be with driving down the road. It could be in your business. So much. And if you can think of anything, drop that into the comments. If you just have a, literally a thought. This morning, I'm going to tell you I had a thought. We're getting prepared, and we my husband came in and started talking to me, and I felt myself, right, coming up. And I'm like, you should have asked me this before, right? You should have asked me this before we jumped on here, right? Non-useful thought. Um, and it's myself either judging, it's really judging him, and then maybe judging myself. It should have been on a few minutes more because I wanted to make sure I had all my tech stuff ready for you guys again. So yesterday, what we chose to show you was how you take a non-useful thought that you're having and you put it into an I am statement. Everybody remember that? Right? Put it into an I am statement, and then we ask you to add the emotion to it. And I'm going to use Tammy's example yesterday. Actually, I'm going to use Teresa's. Teresa, am I free to use yours? I am angry that I could not help my son. That was the original thought. We put it into an I am statement. I am angry that I could not save my son. And you can see that third step is this is the untruth that we're telling ourselves, right? It's the untruth that we're telling ourselves. And we talked about how yesterday it's different than a model that says just flip it because everything in us right now is telling us that truth. Today, we're going to go just a little bit deeper than we went yesterday because not only are these non-useful thoughts, and do y'all like how I'm terming, do you see I have the 1, 2, 3 in black beside self-forgiveness? I we're going to forgive ourselves for the non-useful thought, which we're going to start calling nuts. All right. So, or nut, non-useful thought, or nuts. So, not only of the nut itself, but also of the judgment, because that's why it is a non-useful thought. Is something in you is judging that already. It's grading it already, if that makes sense, based on all of your experiences. Remember yesterday when we talked about your thoughts, same as 97% as yesterday, right? So we're not only forgiving the nut, we're going to forgive the judgment of the nut. All right. And now, because that's the addition, the first addition, I'm going to show that again with Teresa's statement. So here's what it would look like. And remember, we're going to add the forgiveness piece. So I forgive myself. This is the original statement. I forgive myself that I'm angry, that I could not save my son. That was of the nut itself. Now we're going to add in the judgment as also a part of what you're forgiving yourself for. So now it is, I forgive myself for judging myself that I am angry that I could not save my son. All right, I'm looking around the room. I'm going to do that one more time. That's the first edition. Okay. So now I am also forgiving not only the non-useful thought, but the judgment of that thought. I am, I, I forgive myself for judging myself that I am angry that I could not save my son. Teresa, you want to try that on for size before we move forward?
I want to try that for sure. Okay. I forgive myself for judging myself for not being able to save my son.
Okay. Good, really great, right? The emotion wasn't the emotion, right? So we're going to start again. You did it the first part so incredibly perfectly. And nothing's wrong, right? Nothing's wrong. We're just going to go back through it again.
Okay, so help me walk through this again, Tammy. I mean,
Yeah,
Christy.
you're good. You're good. You're good. I
Okay.
forgive myself
I forgive myself
for judging myself
for judging myself for
that I
being
am angry.
that I am
Yes.
angry. That's what it is. That I am angry that I couldn't save
Save
my
my.
son.
Now I want to just, you did it. You did it great. I'm going to let you say it now again. I'll walk you through it one more time.
Okay.
I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for judging myself
for judging myself
that I
for
am angry.
that I am angry for not being able to save my son.
Perfect. All
I
right.
feel
Say it
that.
again. You want to do it one more time?
One
Or
more
two?
time.
Mhm.
I forgive myself. I for no. See, now I'm confused again.
Okay. We
Okay.
don't want to confuse you, but
Okay. All right. No, it's not. It's just me. I'm looking down what I'm writing. And okay. I forgive
okay.
myself for judging myself for being angry that I could not save my son. So I am forgiving myself for judging myself for being angry that I could not save my son.
Perfect. Perfect. Now, here's what I want to show you guys at this point, because it may seem like I'm just adding some layers of complexity to this. What I'm really doing is helping you see the more that we can put distance between you and that non-useful thought, right? The more you say, it's not really my thought, right? That's not the truth. It is your thought. Not that it's not your thought. It is your thought, but you're actually putting distance. You're disidentifying with it. I forgive myself, right? Right. I forgive myself that I'm judging myself, that I'm being angry, that I couldn't save my son, right? And so that part, there's one more little distinction because still at the end of that, Teresa, you're saying, I'm angry that I couldn't save my son, right? So one more little distinction, and that is instead of saying I am one who, okay? I am one who. So I'm gonna do this in your words. And guys, when you're thinking about this, this goes for everything. When you're overthinking, like we talked about yesterday, overthinking, overwhelm. And Tammy and I are going to show you in just a minute how this is, and we've said it, it's not just right now. It's been going on, really, psychologists say since we're about 8 years old, we have our patterns set in how we think and how we feel, right? And that's why all of our thoughts are pretty much the same as they were the day before. That disidentification with it helps us release it. So I'm going to use Teresa's example one last time for the whole thing. And it doesn't matter. You're not, remember, we said this is work that you keep doing. Just even what we did yesterday will help you distance yourself from the non-useful thought, right? It will. But this goes even deeper, right? Even deeper. And eventually you get to the point where you can do it in real time. I don't have to go through it like today I knew, right? I'm just, and you can shift them really, really simply and easily. I forgive myself for judging myself, that I am one who was angry because I could not save my son. And you see how that whole first sentence, right? It's this idea, and we all know this, there's a part of us, maybe you don't know this, maybe I don't need to assume, there's an us inside us that's watching what we're doing and judging ourselves all the time. And what we need to develop of that part of us is that as a compassionate witness to what's going on, right? And release those things that don't serve us. I'm going to do it one more time, Teresa. I forgive myself for judging myself, that I am one who was angry that I could not save my son. Do you see? That's that compassionate witness of yours standing back here going, Teresa, I see you. And really, I mean, you're the same, but there's that part of you that is there that's judging all the time. Is this resonating with anyone? Anyone want to walk through something else here? And I know we're spending a good bit of time on this today.
I wouldn't mind.
Okay. Hey, I missed. Let's see, I'm looking for the green screen. Who was
It's
it?
Dee Dee.
Hey, Dee Dee. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, friend.
Hi. I am so angry that my husband has dementia, and I am so angry that I can't change it. And I forgive myself for judging myself that I am angry that I can't do anything about his dementia.
Wow. Say that again.
I forgive myself that I am so angry that I can't do anything at myself, that I can't do anything about his dementia.
so powerful. It's just that part of I forgive myself
Yeah.
in the very beginning. That's enough. There were a couple of these when we're looking at the actual that were left out that I think will help you. I forgive myself for judging. I'm going to walk you through it. Can I help walk you through it?
Yes,
You
yes.
repeat after me? Okay. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for judging myself,
for judging myself,
that I am one who
that I am one who
is angry,
is angry,
that my husband has dementia and I can't do anything about it.
that my husband has dementia and I can't change it.
I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for judging myself,
for judging myself,
that I am one who,
that I am one who is so angry that my husband has dementia and
how
I
about
can't.
stop there? How about stop there? Because you
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything about it. And you knew that, you know that already.
Yeah.
Right? But that other expectation of yourself, you don't need to add that next part because that's a separate thought, really, right? The angry part that he has it is one thought.
Yeah.
The thought that you can't do anything about it is another thought.
I actually wrote that in 2 sentences. You're right. Yeah.
And do you see how, I mean, remember we said yesterday we've got 40 to 60 to 1,000. And I'm going to share with you, studies have been done. A large portion of them are negative, and they're a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times judging ourselves like this. Do you
Yeah.
think
That's why I said I have 600,000.
Yeah, for sure. Um, guys, Tammy and I we're going to put this into a framework. This is one of the frameworks. Yesterday, I didn't want to quite go this deep on our big call. We wanted to get into conscious creation specifically. But really, if you're going to release things, and truly, we have to release in order to create, because
Mm.
all of you here are here because you haven't created what you want in your business, or you wouldn't be here otherwise. And what I have deduced, having been one that created a life on top of all this, and then it collapsed, is that you will at some point need to do this excavation work in order to really create what you want. Is that an epiphany for anyone? Did you know that? Maybe, do you agree with that? Maybe drop that into the comments. Do you agree with that?
I agree. I just couldn't put a name on it.
Yeah.
Excavation is perfect.
Has this been helpful for you, Dee Dee, so far? Just this little bit of time we've spent together?
Yes, very.
And guys, this is gonna, I mean, it goes into many of you, we've worked together in business before. It goes into business. Everything touches. Who we are is at the center of everything we create. All right. Tammy, I'm gonna pull Tammy up now. Um, and we're gonna practice. Remember how we said that you just don't arrive today with these thoughts, right? We just don't arrive today with these thoughts. Although now we're talking about doing this in this, like, I'm forgiving myself for judging myself for being one who does whatever it is in this present moment, right? This is something you can add if you would like to. When I did this work, and I just introduced Tammy to this, but when I did this work, because we know we don't just arrive here this today. I'm going to bring up another screen. Uh-oh. Is my screen not? Oh no. It's on me now, isn't it? You're seeing me now, aren't you? Uh-oh.
You're so funny. You're so
I
beautiful.
know. I really want you to see. Let me see if I can fix that, you guys. Um, oh, I don't know how it stopped. Why it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Was the script, were they up there before? Ah, Wait a minute. Let me see. Okay. I got it up on there now. Let me come back to Zoom. Thank you for being patient with us. Share screen. Can you see that? Kind
Yeah.
of? Okay. I know you may have there may have be a border around it, but it's going to give you this general idea, all right, of what we call the self-forgiveness wheel. All right. So what it is, and you can see maybe a little bit of it, but I'm going to kind of speak you through it. So I encourage Tammy. I did it in 6 zones, and I think Tammy chose to do it in 6 zones as well. You may have more zones, but what you do is just kind of starting from now, you work backwards, and you can do it in an outline. It doesn't have to be in a wheel, but you just kind of write out. She did timelines, and then you write out really important things that occurred in that timeline. So I'm going to read a couple of Tammy's. 2025 from now to 20, she divorced Edward, who we talked about yesterday. She's been in court 73 times. Joshua passed. She married Jim. She became a caregiver. That's there. We're going to go back one. She moved, started a church plant, has been in ministry. Going back a little bit further to 2008, there was abuse in her marriage. She had her 4 children, and you can just go around the wheel. All right. What is interesting, we're going to start with this, the back with your statement yesterday, Tammy, and we're going to add the complexity, or not complexity, but the deeper distancing work to yours of I forgive myself for judging myself, that I am one who was sad. I could not save my son. Start, and we can practice this, but I just want to give you an overview because we're not going to have time to go, like, obviously let Tammy do every zone. But what I realized, and Tammy did too when we did this, is you judge yourself for being sad that you could not save your son. It goes back to, I'm sorry, I'm judging myself for being sad that I couldn't save my health business. I couldn't save the church that I helped planted, right? I couldn't help save my mom here. I couldn't help save my marriage, right? And it goes, all of those thoughts, as you start doing them in each zone, you're like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking that. And there's a situation that that same thought applies to in every zone. Teresa, do you care? We chatted about you yesterday because you were so brave to come and be vulnerable with us. I know a little bit about Teresa's background. She was in law enforcement and in the military, right? So her being angry that she could not save her son in her civil service work, in her, right? Do you see what it goes back? All of those. And so here's the wheel, and I'm gonna just practice it a little bit with Tammy. But when we said yesterday, be here, say it now, then go to your zones, think about and look at your, and then say it in that zone. I forgive myself for being angry. I couldn't save these people. Move to this zone, do it. Move to this zone and do it. And sometimes it just, I do it now even, right? Because it's not a one and done type thing. But it really is, like I said, it's this excavation work to get all of that. I don't know what else to call it except for poop, right? Just get all that poop out, all the, right? So that you can then, okay, now I've got space to create what I want to create. All right, Tammy, you want to try it, and then we'll move on just a little bit. But we'll answer questions too. Actually, Monday's for questions, but go ahead, Tammy.
Okay, so where do you want me to start?
Let's start with you actually voicing that for them one more time, and
Okay.
take the screen off. No, it's still up, isn't it? Okay. And maybe just pick a zone and you can do it.
Okay.
First, say it, because yesterday when we left off with you just did what we did yesterday. So maybe start with your
Yeah.
statement.
Okay. So I forgive myself for judging myself that I am the one who was sad that I couldn't save my son.
Okay. When you said that, I'm going to say back to you what you said. I forgive myself for judging myself that I was the one
Who was
who
sad.
was sad that I couldn't save my son. When you said I was the one, right? There's still that I'm identifying that. So instead of I'm the one, I'm one who,
Mm,
right? Just because it takes that distinction out of it's not me, I am one who.
mhm,
Still very powerful.
mhm.
Do it
So I
again.
forgive myself for judging myself that I am one who was sad that I could not save my son.
Beautiful. And do it. Maybe pick a zone.
Um, let's do 2008 to 2000. That was a very dark, difficult.
Can I read what was that going on then, just for
Yeah.
you?
Mhm.
Uh-oh, you guys. Uh-oh. No, you can't see that screen yet. Hold on. Sorry.
Mhm.
Okay. Abuse in the marriage, birth of 4 children. All of them were in the NICU for nearly 2 months. And you said near death, so I
I
don't know
was,
if all four.
yeah, I was in the hospital.
Oh yeah. You were near. You
Mhm.
homeschooled, did ministry, and you tutored for dyslexia.
Um, and I don't think I listed it there. Maybe well, maybe in the one before. Okay, so the first steps of this for me in going through these zones was to kind of pull out who I needed to name in that. So for me, what I pulled out, like from that time zone, it was myself. It was the church. I was it and actually, and I don't know, it's not a thing, but it was depression. Um, so those are the things that I kind of pulled out.
And you want to say your statement again?
Yep. So I forgive myself for judging myself that I am one who was sad during this time, living through abuse, that I couldn't protect or save myself.
Mm, beautiful. And then
I
you just, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I forgive myself for judging myself that I am one who was sad that I could not protect or save the church that I had moved for to plant.
Yeah, so powerful, right? I think the main point is that you see those same emotions come up, right? And you see the same types of thoughts about what you should have done
Mm-hmm.
in so many different situations.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone want to say anything here? Remember that this is non-useful thoughts, right? Or anything that pull you into reactive patterns. You have the list there of what they are. So you can think about this. It doesn't have to be as dramatic as these types of situations. It can be in sending a message in your business, right? It can be, I see Stacy mix on. I know you're not on camera, Stacy, right? Stacy deals with overthinking, right? It can be with overthinking. It's we said yesterday, it's with ideas, concepts, and things like money, right? Like anything else moving through, releasing non-useful thoughts or nuts. All right, I want to share something with you at this point. I hope that you'll all be able to hear it. This is yesterday I read, can you see the screen now as well? This is Ideas on Forgiveness by Steve Hardison. Steve is the coach I mentioned that a lot of this work originated from. The book that I mentioned yesterday that I read from was written about Steve. And so I want to play you a recording if I can. Um, it's a recording of a recording of a recording. Okay, I want to state that. Um, but I hope that you can hear it. I'm going to start it now. So if you can kind of lean in, maybe turn your camera, your microphones up on your computer or on your phone and just listen again with that third level listening. First, I want to see if you can hear it. I'm going to pull this down so I can see your reactions on whether or not you can actually hear it. Hold on one second. Oh, that won't move. You begin and take yourself deeper into the purity of your own consciousness. Forgiveness is the opposite of judgment. This forgiveness actually cultivates the quality of consciousness in which you finally come to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is that bridge that, when cultivated, will allow you to see clearly. Forgiveness allows spaciousness within your consciousness to grow. Forgiveness can occur anytime you want it to occur. Forgiveness at the top of your list until you know how perfectly forgiven you are. Forgiveness itself becomes a delightful energy to live within. Practice forgiveness well until it becomes like taking a breath. Forgiveness, when complete, is the establishment of love. Every time that you have extended forgiveness, a miracle has occurred. Friends, I assume you could hear that because no one messaged me and said they couldn't. Takeaway, anyone want to unmute? And was there a takeaway from hearing that maybe, and it was, I know it was maybe, was it hard to hear? Let me ask that. Was it a little hard to hear? I may try to actually record that myself. Basically, the idea is that you forgive and forgive and forgive yourself until you know how perfectly forgiven you are. And
At
that,
the end, did he say that forgiveness is the establishment of love, and when you
yes,
do, a miracle has occurred?
yes,
Wow.
yes.
Wow. Yeah, I would like to see that typed out or something. Number one, I have a hearing problem anyway, but there were some nuggets that I missed some words in there, but that was beautiful.
Thank you, Diane. Yeah, it is. The pictures that you see of Steve there, he's in Calcutta over here. Um, just a little bit of background on this man. He endured more than any child should have to, grew up to be immensely successful, and then experienced that breakdown and then rebuilt himself back up. And he is the probably the beyond maybe Tony Robbins, the highest sought after coach to work with. He's retired now. Um, but he's helped many, many people create a life that they truly love. He's the most loving and powerful person that I've ever been in presence with. And forgiveness is his number one tenet, constantly forgiving, being loving. talking about being loving here, Trish messaged me a question yesterday, and I just want to touch on this. Um, Trish asked me the question, where is God in creating in this? Um, and I want you to, my personal belief is that we're always in the presence of God. What's lacking is our awareness of that, right? So everything that we really do, it's there. And we're talking about love here. And many of you probably have heard that there are really only two energies, two core emotions, love and what are those? Maybe unmute. I can't see the comments. So love and what's the other one?
Fear.
Fear, right? Now I'm going to give you a slightly different distinction and perspective. Are you ready for it? Love is really all that there is. Fear is a contraction within love. And we're not talking about the physical, like sensation of fear. I'm talking about how we judge and, you know, in our scriptures, we're told more than anything else not to fear. Fear is a contraction within love. It's that we aren't plugged into that frequency yet. Here's one of my sayings I say quite a bit, and that is everything is love. It's either an act of love. Tammy, you want to finish that? Because I know you love when I say that.
Or a cry for love.
Or a cry for love. Remember when we took a moment yesterday to send love and hope to Tammy's husband, ex-husband, right?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Mm-hmm. Everything is an act of love
Or a cry for love?
or a cry for love. Um, Tammy, I think we've went completely off script here
Yeah.
today. But I hope it's been good. I know we're kind of down to time and we really want to be respectful of that. Um, let's just, yesterday we left you with, I'm gonna turn it over to Tammy in a minute and allow her to speak because I've spoke a whole lot this time. Um, this is part and parcel of being able to create what you want is to release what is no longer serving you, right? Judgments and non-useful thoughts that come up for you. Um, but everything that we promised you, we are going to deliver. So I'm going to turn it over to Tammy, and Tammy, maybe you can speak through um, what their experience as VIPs here, what they're going to receive from us, so that we
Yeah.
can help them create their being blueprint, and then because we said yesterday we're not against setting goals for the next year or your intentions. We want to do that kind of work with you as well, but in my opinion this is the most important part and step to that. So Tammy, I'll turn it over to you, and we'll kind of.
Yes, absolutely. Well, obviously, we don't want this experience to stop here. And the other portion of what we offered with this experience is to schedule a session with one of us and to help you step into finish out this year, first and foremost, right? For me, I really want to be intentional about the releasing process and taking the time to do that. And I feel like hopefully today, even that deeper dive will help you to be able to do that. But we want to help you step into 2026 differently from a state of creating, right? And part of that is we've created a tool to help you. It's an AI tool that's going to walk you through a series of questions that will help you do some reflection and more understanding of yourself and who you are beneath I know a lot of times for me when it would be end of year or goal setting or vision boards, and those are not bad things, right? But this is different. This is who you're being beneath those things. So instead of focusing on those more surface level things or fixes or tools, this is going to help you identify your unconscious beliefs and any identity patterns that you have, shift from that fear-led or automatic reactions into conscious creation for your life, for your business, for your relationships, and then the practice of the five keys in real life situations and rewrite that internal narrative. So I want you to think of this tool as a mirror and a thought partner. And hopefully it's going to help you to slow down, ask better questions, and choose alignment to those responses. So your actions will start to naturally flow from that stronger, more grounded identity. Because when your being changes, everything will change. And I will wrap it up with this. It's interesting, and Christy and I have a coach in a community that we're part of as coaches. And I remember him saying something about the speed, and maybe you can help me with the quote. The speed at which this transformation has happened is remarkable.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's part of why exactly what you're talking about, that speed at which it can happen, Tammy, is power and love. And that second Timothy quote for me, or scripture for me, for has been so important in my life for a while. But if I think about power, sometimes when we think about power, we think about it being a bad thing, right? It's forced. It's someone's got power over me. Well, we want you to think about power as in it's just the ability to make a change. It's the ability to create something different, right? That's what true power is. It's about empowerment to make the change. And so it's the ability to make a change divided by the time it takes to make that change. Because believe it or not, I mean, there's many probably ways that you can do self-forgiveness, that you can shift non-useful thoughts, right? But giving yourself a framework to help you do it, with ease and faster is exactly what Tammy's talking about. It's that idea of power, right? And everything in love. And that we really know those two things, the clearer our mind becomes, right? The more non-useful thoughts that we have, the more spacious we are for creating and not judging ourselves or judging other people. In that vein, I want to leave you with this. Here's what we believe that are four elements to rapid becoming that. And that is one, that you're engaged in a community doing that same work. You're growing by, like we said yesterday, by proximity to people that are in that. You're here now. And most of the time, this so far, we've been talking, and I hope we haven't been talking at you. You feel like we've been talking with you, but that will become more apparent the more that we do it. There's a language that we use that we all understand, right? Non-useful thoughts, nuts, self-forgiveness as liberation. Some of you maybe have been in other communities with Tammy and I, and those have shared languages, right? Like stories, right? And then a framework for daily practice. This is a framework for releasing self-judgment. And you can use it with other people, but I'm going to urge you, before you start trying to use it with other people, use it with yourself. Again, because we're going to say that's where your power is. You have no power over anyone else. You have no agency over anyone else. But I promise you, as someone who has done this, seeing the change in my marriage and my relationships with my kids and my mother, and you have such agency, and you really do affect it with other people when you worry only about this. And you're experiencing everything through your own thoughts anyway. And then finally, witness commitments, right? That we witness one another's commitments. We witness Teresa's here. We witness Dee Dee's here. We witness Tammy's. And we would love to know that we had plenty of time to go through all the rest of you, but we want to be respectful of this short period of time that we have together. On that note, we are going to drop into the Facebook group. We'd love to see, for those of you who were here yesterday, when you wrote your testimonies before, we would love to see a screenshot of those if you're willing to share those with us. And we really thank you for giving us your thoughts yesterday as well. And Tammy mentioned the AI tool. Each of you have a gift of a one-to-one with Tammy and myself, or myself. We're going to get you how you schedule those. And once that's scheduled, we'll send the tool over to you so that you can do that work before you come to the session. Okay. And the workbook is yours to just, work through. We didn't really use it together except to kind of guide what we were talking about. Um, and I think that's really it. Monday, we're going to come back and answer questions. We hope that you can join us for that, or you can send us questions if you can't be there. And Tammy will give you an idea of what next steps to work with us will look like in the new year. Yeah, but we're happy to answer. We can
Yeah,
stay
really
for
quickly, Christy, and I apologize. This is the tech blessing of of Christy and I.
yeah.
In the future, we'll have someone. If you registered later, I will get those workbooks out to you in an email. So we apologize you didn't have that in front of you, but I will get those out to you for sure. So,
I'm gonna stop share. Um, am I still sharing? Yeah.
hey, Christy, I don't know if we want to talk about this or if we're waiting just till Monday, just some of the future things.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, we're happy to stay. We want to be respectful of your time that you allotted for this. So if you need to leave, you're welcome to. But if you want to stay for a few minutes, if you want to talk about that, Tammy, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
And if
You
anybody has a question about that specifically.
Monday, actually, we're opening it back up to the bigger community for anybody to come back. Our thought process was to allow people to kind of process through. It was, there's a lot of, I believe, for a lot of people, new concepts and thinking through this. And it was really interesting, got a lot of feedback. And what I love is just the different perspectives and where it touched people differently and what stood out and the tools and things. So on Monday, we're just going to gather to answer questions. And then we will be talking a little bit more, and we can talk about it here today if y'all want, is just what Christy and I are creating for the future and an opportunity to create a community that is rooted and founded in this idea of being and creating. So,
Um,
And a note on that, it will encompass, we said personal, professional,
yeah.
and spiritual.
Yesterday, Christy talked about an exercise that we didn't have time to do, and I'm very curious about that. Could we do that on Monday, maybe? Or is it?
Maybe, yeah, because I think we allotted an hour for that, and I doubt that it'll take an hour to do that. So if you can come back for that,
What time on Monday? 9 o'clock?
same time
Because,
as
yeah,
yeah.
I'll try to have dry hair on Monday.
Listen, we accept you as you are.
I know
Yeah.
you do, but
This
I
is a
almost
safe
showed up today in my
space.
bathrobe. Earlier, I was like, Chrissy, I'm still in my bathrobe.
that had, oh, I was too, but that was like 5 minutes to 9.
There you go. I love it.
Hey,
Awesome.
Kathleen.
Good morning. Thank you guys so much. This has been awesome. I'm a little bit confused because I was late to the game. So Monday you're answering questions about the program, but the actual program isn't starting until January. Do I have that right?
Well, actually, we have something a little planned a little bit before that as well. We're answering questions about anything on Monday. So literally any, like if you start maybe writing down some non-useful thoughts and something's popping up for you that you write of anything or the keys even, because the keys are, we could spend 2 hours on, we could spend way more than that on each individual key as well. But so we're answering questions on anything logistics of the program and what we've shared. Kathleen, is that helpful? And then we do have a little something planned before the year begins. But yes, we mentioned that, our intention is in 2020 to create a community of women that are led by their being to create on purpose with power, love, and a sound mind.
But is it 30 days starting in January that we're doing this? Where
Ye-
I
Yeah, that's
ground
okay.
me here, help me
Yeah,
out.
you're good.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Good.
You're going to offer an option to work with us. We'll be having a group package that will be the most effortless yes you could possibly do. If you want to do that, then there's going to be a way to do a little bit deeper work as well. So I mean, I'd rather say that for Monday. Yeah.
Okay,
So it'll start, it won't start in the beginning of January, right? It won't start at the beginning of January. Like that day, you won't be missing out on something on January 1st. So I hope I
okay.
can answer that a little bit more deeper on Monday, Kathleen.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wondered my $50 if it's a 30-day deal or if it's what I just
Oh,
don't know what it's
gotcha.
for.
I see. Okay. Really, that was for the workshop today and then the VIP. The $50 was for this. The workbook, because only VIP's got the workbook. We're gonna do the framework. I'll type it up in an actual thing that you can work off of. Send that to you. We said that. And then you get a one-to-one with one of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to schedule that at your convenience. And then we did the AI tool that's going to help you start your BM blueprint and set your intentions is part of that. That's what that was for. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I did.
Perfect. Thank
Thank
you.
you for clarifying that. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Anything else? Anybody? If you're thinking or question, it's maybe someone else is too.
Well, I think one thing that we didn't get to do as much today that I really desired to happen, but actually, I believe that all things work together for good in the right timing because this is intentional. Like, even for me walking through putting together that timeline in the wheel, I really want you guys to take the time. It was a very insightful activity to walk through. And when I started seeing the interweaving of like the conversation and the story yesterday about my son and that sadness, but realizing like in all of those different stages, and I think Trish asked, can you have different thoughts? Absolutely. I have lots of different thoughts about all the different stages, but it was interesting and becoming curious is really the word I like to use. I became curious to see in each of those stages, and being able to go back through that and asking for forgiveness. Even and it was interesting because I was like, I've always maybe thought of forgiveness, forgiving another person. Anybody else relate with that? Like, oh, you know, or just, I can ask for forgiveness, and go to God, but literally that process was super, super helpful. And even looking back in my story at a very young age, sexual abuse and physical abuse of being sad that I couldn't protect that little girl.
Mm.
And that was like forgiving that little girl who didn't have the capacity to do that. And looking at every single, I mean, I was like, wow, how is this woven? And then abusive relationships. And I mean, I just kept, there was a pattern that continued in my life. And so it was just such a powerful exercise that I encourage you to do that. And maybe, Christy, we could even, I don't
We
know,
can try
we
a
could
couple.
drop a blank
Yeah.
wheel
Yeah, that would be good.
to
Would
give
would
you
that be
guys,
okay, guys? If we did that?
would that be
It's in
helpful to
it's
put
in Canva. So if it's you can have a free Canva account. It's on the free version. So I'll drop it into the Facebook group and you can create your own as well. Yeah. And you can add sections if you need to do that. But I want to urge you, you don't have to do it that way either. You can just do it on a timeline piece
right?
of paper.
Yeah, I love it. Teresa.
Yeah, that innocent, beautiful
Oh.
babe that you were, that's still in you. Can I just an analogy of this? Anyone here watch The Chosen?
Mm.
Okay. Do you know when it's up till now where he's been arrested, right? And do you know what that scene where he takes him, like he's going into the Garden of Gethsemane to pray right before, and of course he tells our people um to like stand up, like to stay awake, right? Stay awake. And then he comes back and they're asleep. Right. And he comes back and he's like, I asked you to stay awake. But then when he comes back that second time and he pictures them as little boys.
Mm.
Did you catch that in that? When he looks at them and he's like, when I've read that scripture, it's always that Jesus is kind of chastising, Luke and Simon, Peter, and John, right? For that. I just may have said the wrong names, but I'm on edge right now a little bit. But that he's kind of chastising them a little bit for you couldn't even stay awake, right? But then that version of him looking at them and seeing them as little kids, right? I think it was intentional on Dallas's part to put it that way. Anyway, it just reminded me of that when you said that.
Love it.
Teresa.
I have a question to ask. Reference to we were excuse the dog. I apologize. My little monster is wanting attention. But real quick, with my thoughts, and yesterday it was very helpful, by the way, and I've been working through it. And then I have another thought of anger. Okay, so as I'm working through this, I'm clarifying is what I'm trying to, I'm working through each of those thoughts to process through and forgive myself for those thoughts individually, not put them all together, but each one. Second clarification is the wheel or the timeline. What's the section of years? I mean, how are we doing this? Because yeah, a lot. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but there's a lot of stuff. Okay, because like you said, it goes back.
Yeah. Tammy, I have mine right here. The way I did mine is I went back and like, okay, there's always things in your life that there's like a line of demarcation. Like this signifies before and after, right? And so I just kind of went back and went like, what are those in my life? Those lines of demarcation. So I kind of started there. So like for me, the most recent one, and I started with the most recent one and go backwards. That was easier for me. So I started with 2025 and went back to 2016 because that's when I mentioned yesterday I had a car accident that shattered my pelvis. 2016, I had a surgery that put a neurostimulator in that helped me walk again, which is what led to me being productive somewhat again. And I started my businesses after 2016. So there's a line of demarcation. And I just put in some important things that happened in that timeline. Like 4 or 5 is what I put in that one. And then I just went back from when that happened till when the accident happened, because that was a big line of demarcation for me in 2012. And then I went back until I got divorced, which was actually 2 years earlier. So that timeline was only 2 years. That part was only 2 years for me. But there was a lot that happened in that 2 years. Right. And then I went back before that, it was all the way back until I got married, my first husband, which was in 2000. My daughter was born in that timeline, different things. I finished my master's degree. Then I went back to when I started college. And then from then, I went back to high school and then high school back to when I was a kid. So 6 time zones for me, but that's how I did it. Tammy, you might speak if you did it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was interesting because that was kind of my question too when I first saw it, and I had to kind of release what her numbers were. I know that sounds weird, but I'm a rule. I'm like, oh, I want to do it right. I'm like, I got to do it right, right? So I had
Release
to,
that too. Release that.
yes, well, I
Release the
did. I
judgment.
had to. I was like, okay, let me think this through. And so, but that same kind of thing, those significant, and I was like, okay, chunks of time. And I, like I said to her this morning, I said, I could have written a book about each stage. Like I could have, that list could have been like on and on and on and on. But I had to really prayerfully consider like naming those things that were most stood out to me the most or most significant. And then I would move to that next chunk of time and then the next. So just and just kind of think through and again, it doesn't have to be six, you know, but I kind of kept to that number where I was like, okay, let me see like in my span of life, are there those significant timing aspects? So it was good. Yeah, it's interesting. Diane said maybe it's not the years that aren't as important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's yeah, for sure.
yeah,
All right, friends. I'll drop that into the Facebook group.
yeah.
We'll drop something. We would love to see your testimonials that you wrote yesterday, if you're willing to share those with us, um, as well, just to get an idea of kind of what you expected coming into it or what you thought you would create coming into it, and then maybe how it was better or not quite expected. And on that note, we are going to do a survey about how this went. And here's something I want to share with you. We really do invite you to, if you expected something that didn't happen, or if you have a complaint. In our community with our coach, who was coached by this person, and I've met this person, right? He really encourages complaints as a, he's such a powerful, loving person, as a means for us to really love one another better, right? Same thing when we talk about conflicts with your husband or with anybody else. Health, I mean, it really, it brings us closer together. And I promise at my stage of development, probably there's very little you could say that's going to offend me, you know, which is a fantastic way to live. Such a fantastic way to live, to say that, oh, I could take this and it can help create something better for me and for you, for Tammy and for you too. So, all right, friends. Thanks so much. All right. See you hopefully Monday. Bye bye.